Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Crime Tapes podcast. I am your host, Nessa. In today's episode, we uncover the heart-wrenching and remarkable story of Susan Lee Wolfe, a young woman whose life was tragically cut short in 1980. It's a story that spans over 4 decades, filled with pain, unanswered questions, and an unyielding search for justice. This journey isn't just about solving a crime. It's about the enduring love of a family, the resilience of a brother, and the long, painful road that eventually leads to hope. Let's go back to January 9th, 1980. Susan Wolfe was a vibrant 25-year-old nursing student at the University of Texas. Like many young people, she was full of dreams and ambitions, looking forward to a future where she could make a difference in the world. But that night, as she walked to a friend's house, her promising life was violently interrupted. Susan had a close-knit family, particularly her younger brother, Charles. Charles was only 15 at the time, and Susan was more than just a sister to him. She was like a second mother. She was 10 years older, and the two shared a deep bond. Charles recalls how she cared for him, guided him, and played a pivotal role in his upbringing. They had countless memories together, memories that, to this day, bring both joy and heartache to Charles as he looks back on the sister he lost. On that fateful night, a witness saw something that would forever change the Wolfe family. As Susan walked, a car pulled up beside her. The driver got out, approached Susan, and in a horrifying moment, bear hugged her, threw a coat over her head, and forced her into the car. The next morning, her lifeless body was found in an alley, a stark and tragic end to a life that had only just begun. The impact of Susan's death on her family was profound. For Charles, it wasn't just the loss of a sister. It was the loss of a protector, a mentor, and a friend. The grief was overwhelming, and the pain of not knowing who had taken Susan from them only deepened the wound. Charles describes it as a scar, an open wound that never fully healed, one that the family would carry with them for decades. For nearly 45 years, the case remained unsolved. Imagine that for a moment, 45 years of living with the uncertainty, the questions, the what-ifs. The Wolfe family, particularly Charles, held on to hope for as long as they could, believing that one day justice might be served. But as the years went by and no answers came, that hope began to fade. The silence, the lack of progress, it all took its toll. Yet, even in the darkest times, there was always a flicker of hope, a belief that the truth would eventually come to light. In 2023, that flicker turned into a beacon. During Susan's autopsy, back in 1980, evidence of a sexual assault was found, and that evidence was meticulously preserved by the Austin Police Department and the Texas Department of Public Safety Crime Laboratory. For years it sat, a piece of the puzzle waiting to be placed, and in 2023, thanks to advancements in DNA technology, investigators from the APD Cold Case Unit determined that the evidence was suitable for modern DNA testing. This was a crucial turning point in the case. DNA technology has revolutionized the field of forensic science, providing investigators with tools that were unimaginable just a few decades ago. The evidence from Susan's case was analyzed, and a male DNA profile was obtained. This profile was entered into the Combined DNA Index System, or CODIS, a massive database that contains DNA profiles from convicted offenders, unsolved crime evidence, and missing persons. In March of 2023, the unthinkable happened. A match was found. The DNA pointed to 78-year-old Deck Brewer Jr., a man who was already incarcerated in Massachusetts on unrelated charges. It was a breakthrough that no one had seen coming, a moment that sent shockwaves through the Wolfe family. On August 14th, an arrest warrant was issued for Brewer Jr., charging him in Susan Wolfe's death. After 45 years of waiting, the Wolfe family finally had a name, a face to put to the nightmare they had been living. Charles Wolfe described the moment he heard the news as surreal, almost dreamlike. After years of clinging to hope and then slowly letting it slip away, this was a moment of overwhelming emotion. It was a moment he had dreamed of, but one he wasn't sure would ever come. Yet, amidst the joy of finally having a suspect identified, there was also a sense of disappointment. Charles found out about the breakthrough not from the authorities, but from a news broadcast. Imagine waiting 45 years for justice, only to hear about it on the evening news. It was a blow, a reminder of the long and often frustrating road they had walked. After everything the family had been through, the lack of communication from the police was a painful oversight. But despite this, the identification of Deck Brewer Jr. was a monumental step forward in the case. Yet, as is often the case in complex investigations, there were still unanswered questions. The witness from that night in 1980 had mentioned seeing another person in the passenger seat of the car that abducted Susan. This individual remains unidentified, a shadowy figure who played a role in that tragic night, but has yet to be brought to justice. Charles Wolfe is determined to keep the pressure on, to continue the fight to locate this second person and bring both of them to justice. After 44 years of dead ends, Charles feels more hopeful than ever. He believes that they are on the road to finally seeing some form of justice for Susan's homicide. The story of Susan Wolfe isn't just about a crime. It's about the impact that crime had on a family, on a community, and on those who never gave up searching for the truth. It's a story that reminds us of the importance of perseverance, of never giving up on seeking the truth, no matter how much time has passed. It's about the advances in technology that have made it possible to solve cases that once seemed unsolvable, and the hope that those advances bring to families who have been waiting for justice for far too long. The Wolfe family's journey is a testament to the power of love, the strength of family, and the unyielding desire for justice. It's a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable loss, hope can still shine through. As we reflect on Susan's life, we must also consider the broader implications of her story. How many other families are out there, still waiting for answers, still holding on to hope that one day justice will be served? We can only hope that cases like Susan's continue to benefit from the relentless efforts of cold case units, the dedication of forensic scientists, and the unwavering support of families who refuse to let their loved ones be forgotten. The journey to justice is often long and fraught with obstacles, but as Susan Wolfe's story shows, it is a journey worth taking. In the end, this episode isn't just about solving a crime, it's about honoring the memory of a young woman who was taken too soon and recognizing the pain and perseverance of a family that never gave up. It's about understanding that justice, no matter how delayed, is a crucial part of the healing process. And it's about remembering that every case, every victim, deserves justice. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Crime Tapes podcast. We hope that by sharing Susan's story, we can keep her memory alive and inspire others to continue the fight for justice. If you or someone you know has information about an unsolved case, please reach out to your local authorities. Together, we can make a difference and ensure that justice is served, no matter how long it takes. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and let's keep the light shining on these unsolved mysteries. This is Nessa, signing off.